Welcome to Rewiring Health, the podcast designed to unlock the secrets of self-worth and healing your mind and body. Hello, I'm Dr. Kelly Kessler, physical therapist, transformation coach, and your host. I spent a whole lot of time and energy seeking out a sense of fulfillment through achievement and validation from others, only to feel exhausted, like it was never enough, and even worse, like I was never enough. The thing is, I didn't even know I was abandoning myself in the process of making sure I was meeting the needs of everyone and everything around me, until it significantly impacted my health. Now I live life differently. I live with more peace, more joy, and more freedom in my mind and body. I've uncovered my self-worth, which has allowed me to live more authentically and in alignment with my true self. I see myself and my life through a whole new lens. Are you ready to stop abandoning yourself and begin living your life with more ease and purpose? Let's do this together. If you are a high performer who feels like you're constantly grinding, working harder and harder, going for the next goal, and yet feel exhausted or unfulfilled, or just wondering okay, when does it kind of get easier for me? When do I have to stop sacrificing so much within myself to get to where I want to be? You want to definitely tune into this episode. I have the pleasure of speaking with Jennifer Watson. Jennifer Watson is a healer and dynamic speaker with a gift for intuitive and visionary coaching. She is an expert in integrative wellness, transformational leadership, mental edge, and resilience optimization, accelerated sustainable high performance, influential communication, and soul-aligned living mastery. Incorporating her expertise along with her athletic gifts as a former D1 collegiate athlete and two-time All-American, she has had the honor to become a 2-time TEDx speaker, as well as share her message on the NBC News, Fox Radio, and Top Summit and podcasts. With 25 plus years of experience in wellness advocacy and business leadership management, she inspires those to unleash their potential in all areas of their life. I truly enjoyed this conversation with Jennifer, and I'm so honored to share it with you today. I guarantee you will feel differently about how to achieve in life and how to honor yourself from the inside out. Well, thank you so much for being here, Jennifer. I can't wait to get into this conversation, and just want to, I'm just grateful that you're here spending your energy with us. So thank you.
Thank you for having me on, Kelly. I love to serve in this way, and I'm ready to provide value to your community. So thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. And we're just talking, I cannot wait to get into this because you just are you have so much that can help people and just bring value. And there's one thing I saw when I was, looking through your social, and you had this quote, and I just want to share that you said, and I love it because it's so easily to relate to. And it was, I wasn't mentally tough. I was addicted to pain and accolades.
Mhm.
And that is something, when I read it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that hits real hard, because I can completely relate. And I know so many people listening to this are like, yeah, that's either where I am or where I was. And I would love to start with that. Can you talk about the meaning behind that and what your journey was with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we all grow up in these ways where we get information about certain things and we bring them on as kids. We have our perceptions that start as kids with new things and what we think it means. And what I have found is people like me, and I have a feeling a lot of you coming on feel this way, but that come from what I'll call it the high performer mentality, the doing epic things at epic levels in all areas of your life. By the way, you guys, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I love that. I work with high performers. I work with people that want to create the highest potential of self. What a lot of high performers have gone through, and it's my journey as well, is because I was so good at so many things at a young age, I started connecting high performance to love, high performance to worth, high performance to what was my identity of, as long as I'm doing well and I'm getting accolades, that is my worth.
Mhm.
And The reason why that's important, you guys, is, I thought it meant that mental toughness meant that I had to just do what everybody else wanted me to do, no matter how much pain I was in, no how much emotional roller coaster I was having. I just did it and was successful, and that's the way life is supposed to be. And what it was is I realized that wasn't mental toughness. I was actually tanking accelerated levels in the background because I was connecting just being in pain. That's what high performers do, is do what everybody else wants them to do and do everything right and just drill yourself into the ground until you quote die, so to speak. That was what I thought being the best and being the martyr for the high performer was being in pain, was actually being addicted to that and thinking that was a big deal and getting the accolades for it. Well, go figure, you guys. It did work for a while. It did, until it starts self imploding. Because guess what? I didn't knock it out of the park all the time. I wouldn't always get the accolades. I would have continued pain. I just kept pushing it down. And then it was harder to get back up and then be high performing. So it created this vicious cycle. And Kelly, I literally had a come to Jesus moment. And you guys, I have a TEDx coming out this summer, and it's about the chemistry of healthy resilience. And I realized, I literally sat on my floor and like, I am not mentally tough. I am tanking. I am not resilient. I literally am mentally, emotionally, physically done.
Mhm.
And that's when I had that moment. I'm like, this isn't mentally tough. I'm just now not knowing what to do without the accolades. I'm not knowing what to do without feeling pain. Like, where do I go from here? But I knew there was a different answer. Because I'm like, I know I'm not supposed to live this way. I know success isn't supposed to feel painful all the time. I know success is not always going to look perfect and get accolades. Like, I know success isn't supposed to be feeling exhausted, unhappy, unjoyful. I knew that wasn't the case. So thus began my journey. And that's quote is very powerful to me too, because I actually realized I had a really messed up version of what being tough, being resilient, being an awesome high performing leader. I know you guys are hearing me on this. Okay. It's not about pressing your emotions down. It's not about suck it up, feel like crap every day. It's not about all the accolades, because we all know you need another hit, you guys. You need another hit, then you need to get another hit. No, it's an addiction. And when I actually hit myself in the face with that and go, holy junk, it was hard. It was painful, but it began my journey of healing, you guys, to a healthy mental resilience, to a healthy performance of mastery, not for accolades and not to grit through with pain, that actually performing can feel fun and joyful and actually not painful. So we can go down that rabbit hole, but I really did have that come to Jesus of realizing first, what is that definition of mental toughness, mental resilience? And I definitely was not it.
Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that, because that is it's such a relatable and just powerful thing, because it's such a vicious trap when you get stuck in it. And you talked about that. It's like you get the accolades, you're like, oh, I must be doing something right. I'm getting the external validation. So it perpetuates that cycle and becomes these markers of like, oh, the harder it is must be I'm on the right path if it's hard, because this is how it's always worked and things have worked out for me. So why change it? And that is such a tough spot to get out of. Like, and like you're speaking to my soul while I was there, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I experienced that so much in my life. And I know so many people are in that. And if you don't realize that there's a different way, and that is truly not the marker for success internally, it's easy to get stuck in that. It's so easy. The world is, very vocal about putting you up on a pedestal and saying, yeah, you're amazing. And then you can put on, this persona of like I have it all together, but you're the only one knows what you compromised to get to that point. Are you the person who says yes, even though you want to say no? Are you the person who puts your own needs and wants last behind the demands of your work and everyone else in your life? If you answered yes to any of these, you may be self-abandoning, and it does not come without a cost. If you want to know if you're self-abandoning for achievement, take my free quiz in the show notes.
Yeah, and I want to be really clear, you guys. There's nothing again wrong with high performing. And by the way, you guys, newsflash, there's nothing wrong with being your highest critic.
Mhm.
Okay. A lot of high performers, we are very like, we want that level, right? But what I want to encourage all of you, and this was my first step, and I'd love to share this first step with you
Yeah.
guys, is detaching from the outcome, that knowing that you want to master something. You guys, I don't care what it is, your business, your marriage, your health, whatever it is, you guys, that's great. And it's good to go at the end of the week. What did I do well at? What did I do not? Learn the lesson and implement something differently. That's called mastery of something you want to be high level at. But what I encourage people to do is not become the critic where you shame yourself or I didn't get the accolades, like just push now harder because it didn't work out. We all know, you guys, all the people that we respect the most, often many of them have failed a lot, but fail quickly and just don't attach the outcome that it's their worth. They're like, okay, how can I master it better? Because they're high achievers too. I think of like Kobe Bryant, and I love that guy. But one of the things he talked about, I mean, obviously he was amazing, but he didn't have perfect games. And he would always say, because I didn't go out and party afterwards, I would immediately go back to my room or wherever he went to look at the film. And he said, whether we won or whether we tanked, he goes, or I felt I tanked. He's like, I want to say he said I forced, but he said I forced myself to watch the film. And he's like, because it allowed me to understand it's about mastery, it's about lessons learned. I wanted to be high performing, but I knew that this would help me just cultivate that hunger, but still separate from the outcome. You master, but that it's my worth. So I really love that about Kobe. And I would say that to all you high performers, that it's not about pain, it's not about accolades, it's not about pushing things down. It's about I want to master something, whatever that is, and disconnecting a little bit from the outcome. It's so funny. I have a lot of people come to me that, we have goals for them, but then I say, okay, now forget about the goals for quite a bit of time.
Mhm.
Because we don't want to be so, are we there yet? And like, I felt it's really being in the moment of mastery and learning the micro little pitfalls and the wins and the losses. And when you start really shifting your relationship to high performance, as in, I'm not here to create accolades from others around me. I'm not here to look better to everyone else. I'm truly here to grow and mastery for myself. The irony is when you actually get more consistent high performance and more wins and everything else, when you really shift that relationship. And it's something that's not easy, you guys. I work with a lot of high performers where you've had this for a while, that mental toughness was about pain and accolades, right? And that's okay of admitting that. You need to break down and rewire that. And I speak a lot about that, rewiring what resilience means, rewiring what performance means, and then starting a new behavior aligned with that healthier way of connecting with high performance. And then the irony is you get everything that you've been trying to fight for over here because you're not about here. Does that make sense? So the irony behind all that is just really making it about I'm just here doing this game called life and I want to do it well and create impact, but I'm going to face plant sometimes. And when you really get okay with that, that's when the acceleration to actually what you really want happens. And whether you guys, there's been times where I've gotten really successful and I heard like birds chirping. No one was like cheering me on, but I was doing it for me. I was doing it to master something. And that's when you know you've won, you guys, when you don't need one clap or 1,000 claps. It's
Mhm.
like, and you don't need to go through 20 horrible things of pain. By the way, you guys, by the way, being a high performer, doing is not for the faint of heart. It doesn't mean things aren't hard. What I'm talking about is pain of doom, of chronic suffering, of feeling like you always have to feel like crap, being in this emotional roller coaster. That is what I'm talking about. Things are hard when you're trying to attain goals. It's learning to shift into a powerful emotional state when you feel bad about something or something didn't go well and move back into your lane to learn the lesson and move forward. You guys, that's what I'm talking about. Life is hard. Entrepreneurship is hard. Being a high performer is hard. Okay. There's a difference between hard and putting yourself through unnecessary pain and doing it for everyone else. Shift it, you guys. And again, sometimes you need coaching to rewire that truly, but just you guys getting from today the awareness like, wow, the quote, like, oh my gosh, that's actually true for me. That will help you start pausing and looking at why you're doing something. It'll start kind of reverse engineering a more healthier version of mental health, resilience, and ultimately performance.
Mhm. Yeah, I absolutely love that. And I want to go further into that because for someone who maybe has relied on those external voices to
Yeah.
gauge how they're doing,
Yeah.
how do they start to quiet those down and start to tune into their own voice to know how they're
Yeah.
doing and anchor into that?
I literally, this is so funny. I love these questions. Thank you for that question. I was
Yeah.
literally talking to another colleague about this, like
Hmm.
literally just a couple days ago, and she works with a lot of high performing women, and I do too. And man, a lot of you guys, so many of us have so much inner wisdom, so much brilliance inside of us, but we listen so much to the noise of the
Hmm.
world. Now, again, I want to really, really emphasize it is important that we have mentors, sometimes coaches, people in our world that can help support us and guide us when we're not feeling we know an answer, to create clarity on something. Okay, you guys, I'm all about that comma. What happens is so many of us, including high performers, take in so much noise of the world. And in the era that we live in, we take in more information than ever, whether we want to or not, because of social media. And it creates, literally, you guys, hysteria in our brain. And I say this a lot, which is another one of my quotes, you guys, is the body should decide, the brain executes. The body should decide, the brain executes. And there's a lot of chemistry behind this. We can kind of go into this right now, but part of your body brilliance is your intuition. Is the body physically, emotionally dumping like cortisol in the system? If something doesn't feel right, it's constantly communicating to you a hell yes or a hell no. And if it's kind of like, you know what it is? It's a hell no. I
Hmm.
want you guys, here's the deal. We have spent so much time listening to everyone else, we don't even trust our inner knowing. We don't trust our body brilliance. We don't trust, I think this decision is right for me, even though the person I respect online says I shouldn't do it this way. Or on paper, it looks like, you know how many decisions I have made when on paper, it did not look good. You guys, I'm gonna give you just a real quick example here. I really want high performer. I opened up my first PT practice in the crash of 2008. Crash, okay? I had mentors that I very much respected. Like, Jen, you had a great business plan. You're smart. We see where you're going with this. Do not open it. You will fail. They actually said that to me. You guys said that to me. People that love me, believe in me, respect, whatever. On paper, I'm like, 2008 crash. I'm looking at numbers. I'm looking at real estate. I'm like, this is not looking like a good time to open. And I remember, and you guys, I teach this in my program, knowing how to optimize intuition, making sure it's intuition, not fear or self sabotage. And when I went through my frameworks that I actually now teach in my program, I was like, I have to do this. I went against everyone that thought I should. And guess what happened, you guys? I opened in the middle of the year, like May 2008. I had six figures, like easy by the end of that year. Okay. In that year, and I was growing and ended up hiring staff. And so what I'm saying is, it didn't mean that it was not hard starting. I have a lot of other stories around the hardship of navigating things and making hard decisions as I was doing that. But my point is, it started with that one powerful decision. And the reason why I'm answering this way and answer your question, that is the number one thing we need to always go back to, you guys. If you want to win this game called life, if you want to be high performing and get the desires you have and make the impact that you want to create and actually get this, you guys, wellness, feel good doing it and vitality and energy, it requires you to tap into your body brilliance. It requires you to tap into your intuition, your inner knowing, your inner wisdom, whatever you want to call it. And it requires you, if you don't know what that is, start working with a coach. Or if you don't want to work with a coach, that's okay. Start getting on the mat and practicing it. I don't even know what that is, Jennifer. That's okay. Start practicing it in grocery stores. That food sounds good. I'm not sure why. I teach a lot of stuff. Where do you feel it in your body? Like, not to go down too much of the rabbit hole on that, but there's ways of optimizing something that each of us have access to. And I don't care what anybody says, I'm not that intuitive. I'm like, you guys, just because it's dormant. Okay. Everybody has inner wisdom. Everybody has an inner Doppler of trying to figure out how to align your life. And when you listen to that, even when on paper or mentors, whatever, you guys go with that. And I'm telling you, you win this game called life, and actually ultimately makes you more mentally well and you get high performing. I want to say this real quick, Kelly. What happened post 2020, we saw a lot of people going to the doctor's office for mental emotional health, not just COVID, you guys, but like we're physically, mentally, emotionally tanking. And one of the things that was coming out, you guys, is they felt that work was stressful and that they couldn't speak their truth, or they had to make a decision that they weren't sure they should because culture or whatever was saying they shouldn't do it, or popular opinion. And you guys, it's not about a political statement I'm making right now. What I'm saying is people are going, I'm feeling I should do this. I hear it in my head and my knowing, but I'm acting out in this way, or I'm closing my mouth. And what it created, you guys, they saw in research, people were literally losing their mind. They were having mental emotional breakdowns. And they actually started looking at scans, you guys, that some of their scans were looking like those that have bipolar, because you were creating a identity personality disorder in your body. You're doing one thing saying I'm going to do this, and you're saying another. So really, at the end of the day, you guys, it affects your mental health. It affects your physical health. It affects how you show up in the world, because you're trying to not live by your truth and do what everybody else tells you to do and want. Been there, done that, wrapped around that tree 20 times. I tell you, I can't tell you, Kelly, how many people come to me and they're powerful entrepreneurs, and they're like, I have all the systems. I'm doing this. I'm eating apple. I'm running every day. I'm meditating. I have systems in place for my great team, and I'm so exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I say to them, I'm like, tell me about your decisions during the day. Well, what do you mean about my decision? No, I mean your micro decisions. What do you mean? I mean, you're shutting up during a lunch conversation with a friend that has a different opinion than you.
Mm-hmm.
You open up the door of a boundary you've created on another person because they just called and I'll just take the call and deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, you see where I'm going with this? That we're always doing these little tweaks, these little micro leaks of like, I'm doing all the things, Jennifer. Trust, been there, you guys. I'm doing all the things, Jennifer, and I still feel like junk. I'm like, really? That's a good thing. Your body's saying something to you. Let's go a
Mm-hmm.
little further. And more times than not, you guys, it comes down to what we're just talking about. You're not doing what you say you're going to do, that your body brilliance, your wisdom, your inner wisdom, your intuition has told you to time and time again. So you keep going back to paper, like, what should I do? What should I do? I'm like, you got that answer like 3 weeks ago. You guys, I'm telling you, because I've been there. I've caused myself a lot of emotional turmoil. I've caused myself a lot of low resilience. I've caused myself a lot of my own mental health issues and low performance because I play that game. Like, I don't trust you, body. I'm like, I don't need to trust it, you guys. It wants what you want.
Mm-hmm.
It wants what you want. It literally wants what you want. It's going, hello, 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 hello. So again, this goes back to our first conversation, you guys. It doesn't want you to be in pain. It doesn't want you to be like everyone else and listen to everyone else and get accolades from everyone else. It wants you to just play with them, play with her. Let's expand your frequency when you get that. Yes, when you really get that, and just start tiny steps every day. I'm gonna try to trust today. Just see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You build momentum, you guys, and then your true performance, your true mental health changes, you guys. And I've been teaching a lot for many years on optimizing mental health. And again, my TEDx is coming out. We talk a little bit about this, tapping back into your truth,
Mm-hmm.
tapping back in. And I'm telling you, you become a mental edge giant. You become more connected to who you are and confident in what you're bringing to the world. You make more money. You have people that are aligned with you because you're going, yep, no, yep, no. You have opportunities that come to you because you're going, yep, no, yep, no. You guys, you weren't meant to live someone else's life, Jennifer's life, Kelly's life.
Mm-hmm.
Meant to live yours. So live that way. And I'm doing it from my own experience, from research, you guys. Trust me, been there. I say it with true humility. I was writing down the date that I was going to check out. That's how bad it got for me, guys. And the little girl inside was saying, I actually just want to do it my way. Are you willing to try it?
Mm. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
It's
But I still get emotional about that
yeah.
because you guys don't. I literally was on another podcast this week, Kelly, and they asked me, what is the one thing if I would leave this earth today, like I get emotional about, like, what would I tell you? Make you high performing, mental health, like all that. I'm like, go back to her. Stop ignoring what she's saying to you every single day.
Yeah.
And when you just are doing that a little bit, I'm not saying 20 things or even a big decision like I did with opening up a huge practice. One little step, you guys. And when you do that, oh my God, it feels so good for you because you're not betraying the one person that matters most that you spend 24/7 with.
Mhm.
That's you.
Yeah.
So step into that, you guys. Do you want to be mentally tough? Do you want to stop doing things the hard way and being pain? Do you want to stop going, God, I'm so tired of like going for these accolades and trying to be perfect? It's just, I can't do it. It's unsustainable. I'm like, yeah, I hear you. Go back to
Yeah.
her. Go back to her. And you, I guarantee you guys, I guarantee you, you'll start seeing changes in your life that are for you and the
Mhm.
life that you actually truly really want. Do that. Literally, you don't have to get coached by me. Just start doing that. Things will start changing for you. Things will 100% start changing for you.
That's it. You know, just start honoring that voice and stop abandoning yourself. And even in smaller, big ways, it's huge. I can attest to that too in my life. Like what you say, it's such a powerful message. And I hope whoever's listening to that can really take that to heart and realize how powerful and how meaningful that is to listen to that little girl or boy in front in you and really just start taking care of yourself, like, you know, like a parent would take care of their child, like that's you taking care of your inner child. So I appreciate you sharing that because it's such a vulnerability, but it's something that I know if someone hears this and they can resonate with that can be so powerful for them being like, okay, this is my step. I need to take that step and
And
start
one
listening.
thing I want to say too, you guys, I want to give you this. I just feel led. There's a lot of tools I use in my program, but powerful questions and the way you word it is really, really key. And a
Mhm.
lot of times when we go with our intuition, the first thing we ask is this the right decision for me? Is this the right decision for me? Is this the right decision for me? I'm going to have you shift that.
Mhm.
And I would actually encourage you to ask this instead. Is this a healthy decision for me?
Mhm.
And let it sit in your body. Health, mind, body, because your body's going to give you the answer. Is this decision healthy for
Mhm.
me? Shifting that wording can get you really out of your head and what everybody else is telling you to do and into your body because you naturally go to health, like feeling. Is it
Mhm.
restrictive? Is it expansive? There's again, I teach a whole 7 levels intuitive mastery in my program because sometimes at first they can feel similar,
Mhm.
intuition and fear. So we go a little deeper, but just by just sitting with that, like, not right, but is this actually healthy for me? It takes out the goal, it takes out the end game, it takes out the noise of your head. Everybody else, like, health. Is this healthy for me? And then you just start working a little bit with listening to your body more, you guys. And that's, remember, body decides. If you don't know what that means, you guys, like, get that. Like, I was like, when I started learning this, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, listen to the body. Like, I have knee pain. Like, I'm not talking about, like, actually, when you're sitting with decisions, it's constantly trying to tell you something. You have to learn how that feels on you. How I describe intuition in a yes might be different than Kelly, but you have to practice that. But it does sometimes require you to get quiet, get in a room, no noise, notifications off, and ask better questions like, is
Mhm.
this truly healthy for me?
Mhm.
It could be right because the
Yeah.
answer sounds right. Because I'm not kidding. Like, half my decisions have not been this, like, oh my God, it's such a horrible decision.
Mhm.
It's not such a horrible, it's usually, is it healthy for me? And you guys, the second piece to this, if you make the quote wrong decision, you will be redirected back
Mhm.
the carousel. There's, to me, no such thing, you guys. And I mean that. And I'm not just saying it as a wrong decision. People are like, but what if it's wrong? What if it was? I'm like, you guys jump and practice it. But even if it ends up being, ooh, maybe that wasn't intuition, you guys, you always get wrapped back around.
Mhm.
I just want you to know that with decisions, you guys, you always will get wrapped back around. Just like when you fail at something, that's why God invented days. You
Mhm.
always get the next day to start over with a clean slate and try again.
Mhm.
Try not to hold on. Is this not right or wrong? And what if? I'm like, you guys, just let it be.
Mhm.
There are many times, and I'm highly intuitive, that over the years, you guys, I wasn't intuitive. And I was like, well, crap, that wasn't good. I'm a good communicator. There's been times where I'm a horrible communicator. That doesn't mean like, oh, throw the baby out the bathwater, this, like, it's more like, okay, I'm going to learn and I'm going to come back around. You can't be 100% perfect at everything. What did I just say at the beginning, you guys? That's not what high performance is. That's going to make you mentally crazy. It's practicing this. And sometimes it isn't intuitive and you thought it was. That's all right. And actually, sometimes it is. And then it turns out a different way and you think it was an intuition.
Mhm.
Remember, your body's looking for the best thing for you. And it may be different than what the world is saying is the best thing for you. So just because it doesn't turn out your way either doesn't mean it's like, well, that wasn't intuitive. Let's just see how this plays out. This might be a better option for you guys. That's happened many times in business. I'm like, thank God I didn't say yes to that contract that said no to me. This one was actually better. It was around the same weekend. But thank God I didn't say yes to that guy that I wanted to date because this one was there. Does that make sense? You're all bummed about it. So my point is that just try not to hold on again so much to the result. Like, oh, what if it doesn't work out? What if this is the wrong decision? And like, it is what it is. Make the decision, make the call, and then stick to the decision. You guys, I teach a lot about next level leadership traits in my program that optimizes mental health and performance. And one of the things I talk about is making an immediate decision. Once you get really good at like decision making and being in alignment, make a decision quickly. And I don't mean it's like in 2 seconds, but quickly. You're not make it decisively and don't look back and renege because that's where the turmoil comes, you guys. Honestly. Now, by the way, it doesn't mean that you don't change course sometimes, you guys. That's happened with me. I'm talking with decisions that often we know and is in alignment and then we renege. Okay. A lot of times people make decisions and it wasn't the right decision. They have to do something a little bit different. So not to get all layered here and complicated. But what I'm saying is with, the highest performing leaders that you probably know and recognize haven't had less problems. They just make a call and they go with it and they deal with the consequences and just keep going. And that's what I encourage all of you to do and stop kind of like festering so much on the decision. Again, this is why coaching is great, you guys. Mentorship to kind of make sure that you're moving into alignment with something that's true. And then once you make the call because critter brain always comes up, people's opinions, and you start second guessing. I get that. We're human beings, you guys. Don't shame yourself if you've reneged. You guys, I hear you might be like, oh my gosh, it's all right. I've done it too. You guys, I've done it too. What I'm saying is it creates a lot more emotional turmoil, mental health issues, pain, all this stuff when you do that. We're like, oh, pain. Why am I feeling pain? Because I'm like, you keep going back and forth and your brain doesn't know what to do. It's like, it's literally trying to create homeostasis, you guys. Your body, I talk a lot about body brain chemistry. When you're constantly going in and out of different decisions, it's like, it can't keep up. It's trying to create homeostasis. That takes energy. It's like, oh, holy crap. Wait, she goes that direction. She goes, it's literally trying to keep up with you. So understand that can be another reason why you're low energy and feeling mentally tanked and low brain clarity. Like stick with your decision, you guys. Even if you're like, oh, like sit with it. Get support. Get a community that will back you. Get coaching. You guys, I had to get coaching. This is why I do what I do because it's hard to do alone. It's hard to navigate some of the stuff alone. So make the call.
Yeah, I love that.
And know it'll come back around.
Yeah, such great recommendations. And again, it's like if you're trying to analyze all the right decisions, you're going to hold yourself up from actually making one. Then somebody could have made three, gained all this information, and then they're on their way. So it's such a big difference. And I love as you're speaking, kind of a quote came to me that really resonates, like what's meant for you will not pass you. And it's like, just like you're talking about, like there's really no wrong decision. It's just the route of getting to where you are destined to be.
Right.
And so I love that. One thing I want to get into a little bit more because when you're talking about living in alignment with yourself, trusting your voice, and sometimes that quiets down the external world and we don't make the decisions that the external world is expecting of us. Can you talk about that path that as you anchor into yourself, you're making decisions that are aligned with yourself? It can cause a rift in the outside world because the world's expecting you to do what you've always done. And when you start to shift, it creates a shift in the outside world. Can you talk about your journey as you start to tune into yourself, how sometimes that can become tumultuous and sometimes make us almost doubt what we're doing? Can you talk about that? How do you really anchor into yourself when sometimes the world is telling you things that are mismatched?
100%. I don't know if any of this is going to resonate with you guys, but many high performers, I'm a recovering perfectionist. And this is where I'm going with this. I'm a recovering people pleaser. It's called fawning. It's a trauma response. I don't want to necessarily get into that today, but it's very subtle. And the reason why I mention that is when I was in my journey of getting really clear on who I was and stepping in intuition and stepping in my truth, all that stuff, there was a new way Jennifer's coming about. You guys, I was a high performer. I was a perfectionist. But you guys, I did everything for everyone. I was the people pleaser, whatever. Well, when I was becoming more my truth and making more powerful decisions in my personal and professional life, I had healthy boundaries. And I would say, sir, I was saying no more. I was showing up energetically differently. I wasn't, now fell short sometimes, you guys, because remember rewind, but I wasn't people pleasing. I wasn't doing all this stuff. And it was so, so powerful. And you're right. My closest friends, my closest family, the people that work with me, they had no idea how to respond to this new person. Some of those relationships had to be let go. Some were just, it's just like being married, navigating evolution. You had to navigate and really create something I teach in my program too, powerful conversation as you're going through changes and you're showing up differently for your team and for your people. You're going to have tough conversations. So there was some letting go of certain people that weren't aligned with me anymore. And there were some that literally I was triggering them because it was calling them indirectly, subconsciously to be called up, to step up. So some of those ended up being hard conversations, you guys. And some had to be let go. And I'm talking about specifically the people that are closest to you. A lot of times when they're online, like whatever, but I'm talking about people that are really in your world that usually influence you and that you highly respect or highly love. So I will say this, as you navigate and take off these layers and really get to who you are and your purpose and your core values and really how you want to show up in the world. And you're like, I'm going to step in intuition, I'm going to make decisions for me. You will absolutely trigger everyone around you. You'll probably trigger less people that have done work in personal development and trauma work and healing of themselves.
Mhm.
But many of you that are maybe new in it, in your community and the group that you hang out with, you will 100% trigger people. You guys, and the reason why I mention this, it'll naturally, for any of you that are perfectionists or people pleasers, you'll want to then respond with your old behavior, your old patterns with them. And I'm just going to challenge you, invite you in to being aware of that. Take a deep breath, pause. And again, just like we were talking about, one little choice, make one little choice with the person you're having a cup of coffee with, that you usually would do something else to people please and go along with it versus like step in your truth. One little change, you guys will start repatterning so you can show up continually differently for these people. It's not for the faint of heart, you guys. You have to be willing to let go of some relationships and allow them space to navigate you in a different way, because you got to realize half the negative responses to you, it's not about you. And I know as a people pleaser, it's easy to take that on. It's really about them and their own journey. And the more I get into the personal development, I get that. So I can bounce that off a little more effectively. Not that I'm human, that happens, but I just want you guys to get that. If they react in an adversarial way, it's often their journey. So it's making sure that you're staying in integrity with your behavior and congruent, and creating a safe space for them to land and express, and then creating boundaries around those relationships where you need to, whether it be fully letting go or allowing them certain parts of you and then walking away. That's what I'd say on that, you guys. My journey toward all this, I had to let go of certain people. I had to let go of certain family members for a while until they, I want to say caught up, you guys. It doesn't make me I'm here, they're here, but where they were able to receive me in a different way. So it doesn't mean some relationships are forever over. Some are, okay? But understand as you're growing in this, you are going to go to different opportunities differently. People are going to look at you differently. You're going to have to let go of things, you guys. I didn't really enjoy this movie. I think it was The Life of Pi. However, I love a quote in there, you guys. And there's a quote in there, and I'm going to kind of screw it up a little bit because I'm not great with quotes, but I love this quote. And one of his quotes was, the sum of life is the act of letting go. And I'm like, that is such a good point, guys. Letting go of relationships, letting go of a business that doesn't work for you anymore, letting go of the old story and identity of you, letting go of a money story, letting go of someone that's literally physically passed. Like, you guys, I that's such a profound quote.
Yeah.
The sum of life is the act of letting go. And we are constantly evolving, you guys, all of us, each of us at our own time frame. And it is going to require of you, as you go to that next level, to let go of things, including people. And that's going to be the hardest one because we're humans and we want to connect. But what it means is now you got to connect with other epic people that are at where you're at.
Mhm.
And that circles about around back to what we were talking about at the beginning of all this, you guys, to create this new healthy mental edge mastery, this new healthy way of performing, this new healthy way of stepping into you. You have to be around a community that's where you're at. It doesn't mean exactly like you, but can keep you accountable. Say, I hear you, I know you feel crummy about it, but you're still on the right path. Like, you need that. I don't care if it's paid mentorship, paid coaching, or just a community of people that are in that space with you. But you have to be willing to let go of some of those people to go to this next level with other people that are aligned with you. And when you really get that, you guys, and again, Make the decision from your intuition. You got to let that go because it's hard. Because this stuff is not easy. Because when I'm talking about everything we've talked about, it sounds simple. It's not easy. It doesn't mean, again, we're not suffering, we're not in pain. What I'm saying is making these choices because it stimulates our fear and our old patterns. That is not easy. But we all know, because all of you listening to this podcast, I know maybe you're, I hope you're not where I was at, but if you are, this message is for you. You think it's hard to make these calls and let go of people? If you were where I was at, writing down that day, or not even close to that, but getting down that path, that is not the life for you. That's not just hard, that is suffering. That is miserable. So the phrase, choose your hard. This is not an easy path to choose the path that's aligned with you, but it's much better than the suffering, the pain that's over here. And when you're on your deathbed, and I've had many family members close to me, including my older sister, passed away, and I held her hand on her way out to the next life. It's true, you guys. Regretting the things you didn't do is often many of the things. And of course, the things you did do too that hurt people or you didn't do. But a lot of times, the first thing, you guys, that comes out of people, what they didn't do, what they didn't do. So I'm going to encourage you, just look at that. I get it. It's uncomfortable. It's just like, oh, that's good. I get it. Surround yourself with the right people to help support you because we can't do this alone. You guys, I was this leader that was dysfunctional, that think I need to do it on my own and be tough all the time. That was part of my trauma, and being mentally tough and being not emotional, and like taking care of everything for my team and tanking the background. Wah, wah, wah. I need your help, team. I'm not doing with it. I need your help. This is hard. 2008 crash is hard. Like, help me out. You express, they express. We create more aligned people that really know you. You get connected to your purpose more. Yeah, you make a lot more freaking money, you guys. I'm all about making money, impact, and money. Your high performance. You guys are all big people on this podcast. Your big mission requires a big amount of money to impact a big amount of people. Period. Which requires you to make big, hard decisions. Period. Which requires you to be mentally well. Listen to your inner wisdom. So you guys see how we've just come full circle. That's all this is about. It's simple, not 20 steps, but it is the hard step.
Yes.
So that's what I'd say.
Yeah, I love it. And for someone who's listening, who's, because a lot of times when you're an achiever, you're like, well, I have to know the whole plan. I have to have it all figured out. And we know that is, nearly impossible. And that's why a lot of people stay stuck. For someone who is feeling like that and maybe is like overwhelmed, they know they need to change. They know they deeply are feeling everything you're saying. They don't know where to go. What would be the first step they could do right now, today, to start to open up those doors to a different life?
Yeah, I'm a big, I teach this in my program, you guys, but I want to give it to you. You just got to start feeling all your five senses. Okay. Because a lot of people that are such hysteria, but they're like, I don't know where to begin. I'm confused. I'm lost, but I know I just feel crappy. I'm like, I get that. You guys, but you have to just start with just being okay with just feeling all that. So no matter what you're doing during your day, do check-ins of like, what am I seeing? What am I hearing? What am I feeling? What am I tasting? What am I smelling? Like just being in your environment and just kind of connecting to, do I feel good? Do I feel bad? It doesn't matter. Just start connecting with your body. Just connecting with it, you guys. Not judging it. I'm having a great day. I'm having a crappy day. I have a stomach ache. I don't feel good. I feel high energy. It doesn't matter, you guys. Just start connecting every day. Like maybe in your morning ritual. Like, how am I feeling? Do a little check-in, and then I say the five senses, like, okay, what am I, hearing right now? What am I seeing right now? The reason why that's important, you guys, that connects you to what you're feeling in your body, because our five senses is how we take in information. Yeah, so just like I'm in my room right now, for instance, you guys, like I feel really pretty good. I feel high energy. I feel anchored. I'm looking at pictures on my wall. I'm hearing and talking to Kelly. And tasting a little bit of coffee in my mouth from this morning. It's like I'm just kind of feeling myself. And then from there, and this is just the second part to that, you guys, no shame, just no judgment, not even trying to analyze what you're feeling, just feeling it. And the five senses connected to that. And then the second space to go is start playing every day with playing. And what I mean is try something that just feels good. I don't care if it's like work related, wellness related, food related, friend related. I'm going to call my friend today because she always makes me feel good. Great. I actually love water, Jennifer. I'm a Scorpio, so and I do love water. I'm gonna just hang by my pool today. Great, do that. I'm a runner. I think I'm gonna just go run in this new trail. That just sounds really good. Great. I love, and I'm giving examples of my life because I love to speak. I'm gonna work on my speech today because that gives me such joy. Great. And then connect that. How does that feel? Again, feel. You guys notice I'm feeling. What are you tasting? What are you sensing when all of that is? Then you start crafting what you just are feeling. One, first step that we just gave you. Second, what feels good?
Mm-hmm.
There's no judgment with the first, just being in your life, just like, just checking in. How do I feel right now? You guys be surprised some of us don't really realize how stressed we are. There's so many people come to you like, yeah, I've done mental health stuff, personal development, I'm fine. And then we get through program with me. They're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how highly stressed I was and so disconnected from my body. You guys, that's part of this project. So I'm giving you some real jewels, you guys, that people pay me a lot of money for. So listen up, like just play, like literally like my body, listen to it, and then go into, okay, what feels good or it sounds good to try, and then connect it to your body. Just by doing that, you start feeling better. Your body starts feeling safer. Your brain feels safer. It starts giving you ideas. It starts giving you the next step, then the next step. I don't care if it's in your business or other things you want in your life. Then it starts taking off the veil and creating clarity, you guys. It cannot do that if it's in fight or flight all the time. Your brain shuts down. Your body shuts down. It's not going to give you anything. So just start, this is where I'm at. Okay, good or bad, not a judging. This is where I'm at. What am I sensing? What I'm seeing? What I'm feeling? Great. What sounds good to do right now? We're getting an ice cream cone. Great. Awesome. Go. Like, how did that feel? It felt really good. I'm like, great. So you guys just get on the mat with that. And you guys, that sounds so simple. But before I give anybody strategy on clarity of purpose and how to tap into your frequency when real bad shit comes your way, I mean, all that stuff, you guys, starts with just this stuff. Like, just let's just get back on the mat with you actually connecting with yourself. It's like what I say, the noise is there and we don't do that. And we're not Lori English Wilder Day anymore. You guys, we're not in the field hoeing stuff and having all this time to self-reflect. We literally have to mark out times now like this. Because, well, we don't have to do that back in Lori English Day. Well, we're a different society, you guys. We sit down more. Both Kelly and I are PTs by trade. I saw more back pain in the last 10 years because people are so sedentary. Like, listen, you guys, we're not in the same area. We have to use different tools. And I'm telling you, we have to set aside time to reflect on how we're doing and then choose something that feels good and leave it at that. Don't judge it. Don't say, okay, now that I feel good, what does that give me? No, just feel good. Like,
Yes.
and high performers, I get it. We're like, shut it down, disconnect from the outcome. Just like, I love feeling good. Great. Awesome. Namaste. So start with that stuff, and that'll start you on around a momentum of just getting into your body, getting into your body brilliance, feeling good, feeling more joy and all this pain and needing to have accolades to offset the pain and all this stuff we talked about that is not true mental health, and just see how you feel with that. You will be surprised how much things change for you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I hope for anyone who's just listening, like take a moment after this podcast and just do it. 5 minutes, you can do that and just see how you feel, move in with curiosity. And I guarantee you're going to feel a little bit different after those 5 minutes. So thank you so much for sharing that. And for someone who's listening who wants to connect with you and work with you, how can they find you?
Yeah, no, a couple places. I'm the most active on Instagram and LinkedIn. On Instagram, the Jennifer Watson. On LinkedIn, it's Jennifer Watson. If you have any questions on this episode, definitely follow up. I answer my own DMs, or if you're interested in some coaching support and just, having an exploration call, you guys, there's no pressure on that, but just wanting to learn a little bit more about how I work with people, definitely don't hesitate to connect. And then if nothing else, you guys, I am, on this kind of, I call it kind of promotion of my TEDx is coming out this summer. And it's my second TEDx, and it's all about the chemistry of resilience. And we talk about tools, easy tools of moving you into a space that is healthy so you can make powerful decisions, even during what appears to be chaos. So I'm really excited about that. I would love you guys to comment and just share it with people if it aligns with you. But that's something that's coming up and through the works in the next couple days. So I'm excited about that.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Definitely connected, Jennifer. And I just am so grateful for everything you shared today. This is just gold. And I know that someone listening today, their life is going to be changed and they're going to take the next step forward towards a new existence. So I really appreciate everything.
Thank you so much for having me, Kelly. This is such a blessing to me as well. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And again, thank you everyone who tuned in today and thank you for spending your precious time with us. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Rewiring Health. I hope you found our conversation both enlightening and empowering. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to Rewiring Health so that you never miss an update. Also, I would love to hear your thoughts. If you could take a moment to rate and review the show, it would mean the world to me and help others discover the power that we all have within us to create change and create the life that we truly, truly desire. Thank you so much for spending your precious time with me and sharing the energy of the show.